Our topic today is the art of looking good online. Because of the pandemic of 2020, we got the equipment, we learned how to use it, we work online, we socialize online, we learn online. But have you mastered it? There was a book out a number of years ago, A Dress for Success, where he did some experimenting and said, people do react to you based on how you're dressed. So pay attention. Obviously, you want to be clean and neat, and you want to dress appropriate for your job and the current audience. Why do you do this? It shows respect for your audience, and it enhances your credibility. We all know that is intuitively. We look in the mirror before we leave home. We make sure everything's right when we enter work or when we do a social gathering. It makes sense. You need to do the same thing online. Do you look good? Do you have an appropriate background? Is the lighting, the composition? Again, it shows respect for your audience and it enhances your credibility. Now, this is how I see a lot of people in their video presentations. Notice there's a low camera angle, there's backlighting, bad composition, strange background. It's a head without a body and it's dark. There's a fluorescent light up there. The eye goes to the brightest thing on the screen. Well, it's that fluorescent light. Stays away from the dark. Don't know why, but that's just how it is. A small improvement is change the camera and put your head on a body. Do it right now. If your camera doesn't have a body under your head, move it up. And then you need front lighting. In this case, I turned off the fluorescent light. And if you have room lighting in your room, face the window. Don't put the window behind you, face it. And if you need more lights, get some more lights. But this still isn't very good. It's not a good picture at all. I don't look good. All I had to do to change what there into this is a camera angle. In general, you want the camera above the eye level. That looks natural. That means if you're on a laptop, you need to raise it. If you have a camera on your monitor, make sure it's above your eye level. Let's look at it a little more scientifically and give you a little formula. This is my actual workspace where I've spent the pandemic hours working with online meetings, consulting, presentations, classes, all down here. So I spent some time. Now, first I got a decent camera that I could control sitting on top of a monitor above eye level. You'll notice I have two lamps. They both have daylight bulbs. You go to the store and look for daylight bulbs. So you have natural lighting that works with your window light. And I experimented placements so that my face was lit nicely with some nice shadows and some brightness. And then in composition, the general rule of thumb, and I learned this from a master portrait photographer years ago when I was learning photography, is start with a nose in the center of the picture. That lines everything up. Now you might adjust it from there, but notice if the nose is above the center line horizontally, you have a body under the head. It looks good. And if the nose is in the center in the vertical line, that means as you turn, you have good composition. It's all automatic. So start there, you can play with it, but experiment and do that before you join the conference. When you first bring it up, your video comes up, get your nose in the center of the picture, get your lights right, and do that. Now, if you have a camera that's external versus on your laptop, you probably have some advanced controls. Take the time when you're not on a session to play with those advanced controls. Learn how to zoom, play with the exposure, brighter and darker, the color balance, that your face has not blue, not red, but the skin tone that you really have. Play with the brightness so that you don't have hot spots or dark spots. It takes time. When I played with this, when I first started this with the pandemic, I spent a number of hours just working with these controls, working with placement, working with lighting. But the beauty is once you got it, you got it. So it's worth the time. Then there's backgrounds. Now this is the background that I have in my basement. It's fake. I bought some masonite wood, put it behind a bookcase so I don't see the rest of the room. But it is a bit distracting. With Zoom and other software, you can often blur the background. Notice how much better that looks. When I blur the background, I see me, not the background, but it's still there. A lot of people like to do a nature picture behind them. I think this is great. And having participated in a number of meetings, I find it relaxing when people do a nature background. We all know it's fake. We all know it's Zoom, but it feels good. And it's sure better than looking at somebody's closet or at the door or their kitchen. It just feels good. Another thing to play with is maybe a professional background like I used here, that symbolizes what you're doing. Another one to consider is a casual home background. Isn't that nice? Isn't that relaxing? It feels good. Now, is it fake? Is it authentic? Well, if you tell people, no, it's not my house, it's just a background, you get over it, but you still look good. So think about that. Now, if you don't know how to do that in Zoom, and we're on Zoom today, go to where your video camera is. There's a little triangle on it. And then you'll see words that said virtual background. Then you get a dialog box that lets you change your virtual background. You can hit the plus key and put one of your own pictures up there, and you select your background.